Audio Jungle.
Hi, I'm Anna,
And I'm Jamila.
and this is The Western Review. Welcome. Tonight on our special, author Nicole Krause visits our very own University Community Center to do a reading of her book, followed by a signing in our very own university bookstore. Jamila, you were at the reading and you read the book prior to her arrival today. How did you find it?
Well, Anna, without giving anything away, because we want you all to read the book, essentially the book is about 4 different narrators whose stories at first seem unrelated, but they're actually all interconnected by a desk. Yes, a desk. And we see how with each person receiving the desk and losing it, we see how it impacts their lives. And there are actually a couple of wars that go on in the book. So there's World War II, the Chilean War, because it's set in different time periods. And we see how these events affect these different people and their relationship with the desk. And basically the book, it invokes a bit of self-reflection, and it makes you kind of think about like love, loss, and the memories that we have, and the things that the memories that we share with different things.
Oh, very nice.
It's a very interesting book.
Well, Ms. Krause was kind enough to sit down with our UCC correspondent, Monique Zizzo, for a short interview. Over to you, Monique.
Hi, I'm Monique Zizzo, and I'm here with Nicole Krause. How are you, Nicole?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. So I read the book, and I thought it was really good.
Awesome.
Just wanted to ask you a few questions today. So where are you from? Where did you grow up?
So I was born in America, specifically New York City, New York, and I still live there to this day, only I live in Brooklyn now.
Oh, okay, interesting. So New York is a big setting in the book. Are there any other places that inspired the setting?
Definitely, yeah. So my mother was born in London, England, and then moved to be with my father in America. So obviously London is in the book as well, so it has significance. And then my father, even though he was born in America, he was raised for majority of his childhood in Jerusalem, and that's where his parents are from. So again, another place that is near and dear to my heart.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so are there any other people in your life that inspired the characters in the book?
Yeah, definitely. So I have 2 boys myself, and I always find inspiration in my children and everything they do. And then also in part of the book where it's narrated by Nadia, and she's going to her friend the dancer's home, that is pretty much based on a true story. With one of my friends, I went to his home and I noticed a piece of art on his wall, and it really shook me to my core.
Oh, interesting. Okay, Nicole, thank you for being with us today.
No problem.
Okay, now back to Naomi with reader interviews.
Hey, it's Naomi Hobson, the Western Library correspondent, here to talk to some students who just came from the reading and the book signing. I think I see some students over here.
Let go.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I was hoping I could ask you a few questions about the book signing and what you thought of the book. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
For sure.
I thought it was good. I appreciated what it was trying to do, the message that it was putting across. But what I didn't like was the writing style. I just felt like it was really like the descriptions dragged on and on.
Right,
It was
right.
just like, I think a very specific group of people would love it.
Right.
But I think it's a good book for everyone to read.
Awesome. Great. Okay. And you?
Yeah, I agree. It definitely had some very good messages in it and a lot of kind of life lessons that are
Right.
applicable to everyone.
Right.
But I definitely think it kind of lacked a sense of humor. And if you're looking for like a light read, it might not be the book for you.
Oh, definitely.
But it was definitely, I thought it was very well written and had a lot of good lessons.
Awesome. One last question. Without any spoilers, was there a favorite part that you guys had? Am I asking too many in-depth questions?
I don't know how to answer that without
Yeah.
spoiling
Okay,
it.
no worries, no worries then. If you guys had to give it out of 5 stars, what would you give the book?
I would say 3.5.
3.5?
Yeah, I would say 3.
Alright, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Let's go talk to another student. Come on. Hello.
Hi.
I was hoping I could ask you a few questions about the novel Great House. Did you go to the signing?
I did.
Awesome. What did you think of the book?
I actually quite enjoyed it. I actually just loved how all the characters that you didn't think would come together
somehow made a connection at the end.
Mhm.
And when each character is unique and has their own personality trait, they all come together. I feel like makes for a wonderful story.
Awesome, awesome. Did you have a favorite part?
I actually liked the most, I feel like the captivating part throughout the book was the intro that fully captures your attention just from Your Honor, the first two words of the book. And I feel like it just leaves so many questions for the reader to find out themselves while they read the book.
Awesome, awesome. If you had to give the book 3 or 5 stars, 4 out of 5 stars, 5 out of 5 stars, what would you give it?
I would give it a 4 out of 5 stars.
Awesome, great, thank you. Okay, we're here at the bookstore to grab another student. Let's see if one will come out. Hey, you! Did you go to the book signing?
Yeah, I did. I got my book right here.
Awesome. Could you give me your opinion of the book?
I really liked it. I thought it had a very beautiful artistic writing, very beautiful writing. I feel like it touched on so much of the world, and what I really look for in a book is, a book that enhances my knowledge about things that I wouldn't have otherwise known, such as like the Second World War or the Chilean War, which is a big part of this book, both of which are. And I feel like because of my age, I feel like it appealed more to an older audience. I feel like I was just sort of the baseline of that audience. So I feel like in a few years, I could appreciate the book more. So I definitely want to give it another read, but I would definitely recommend the book. It was very beautiful.
Did you have a favorite part?
Oh, without giving too much away?
You don't.
No, I honestly, I like the whole thing. I think it was, it's very slow paced and you have to really be patient with it. That's what I really found. But honestly, it's just like the slow absorption of taking everything in, which is just really great. And you don't really realize how much you've taken in until you finish and you're like, wow, this is the end. Awesome. So it was really beautiful written though. Like, love this author. Highly recommend her.
Okay, if you had to give the book a rating out of 5, what would you give it?
I would probably give it a 3.5, but I'm sure if I were to read it again, it would be higher because I want to give it another go because there's a lot to take in. So,
Awesome. Thank you very much.
no problem.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey Westerners, you heard it here first on Western Campus from other students. Great House is an amazing book, has important messages and intriguing messages. Anyone who's interested in history, art, culture, religion, wars, anything like that will love the book. Now we're going to take you to the analyst desk.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Analyst Desk. Today we'll be covering The Great House by Nicole Cross. We'll be going over 4 different literary conventions today: style, diction, setting, and narrative style. First we'll go with Naomi with setting.
Okay, so importantly within this book, from the 5 different narrative perspectives, we will have different settings in each chapter. We start in New York and we end in New York. We also go to Budapest, Hungary, we go to Jerusalem, Israel, and we go to London, England. And then there's parts when there's references to Chile and as it relates to the Chilean War. What's really interesting about this book is that throughout the setting, it passes through different times. We start in 1948 and go to 2008. So with every time setting, we get a different feel for what the world is like at that time. Also, just to kind of like touch on the atmosphere of the novel, in every chapter we're either in dirty streets, we're in unkept, cluttered estates, we're in the hospital, we're during times of war and hardship. So the atmosphere is kind of dark, and that really alludes to the feeling we're going to get from the novel.
The style that this book represents is a very unique one. As Naomi said, the book is told from a lot of different settings, different timelines, places, locations, and this is because of the fact that it's told from many different perspectives. Unlike conventional literature, it's told from multiple perspectives, which enhances the story and turns it into a sort of anthology film-like retelling. Because we're looking at past memories and events of people, it keeps the reader constantly engaged and at the same time, in a sense, overlooking everyone's stories and seeing when they'll connect. And off that note, let's go back to narrative style with you.
Okay, perfect. So the point of view for each chapter changes. It is first person consistently, but it's told from 5 different people. We have Nadia, Aaron, Arthur Burke, Isabel, and George Weiss, all who come from different cultures, they're different genders, and they're different ages. This really helps to make the book really interesting because every chapter we're thrown from place, time, and person. What's really interesting though too is that because sometimes the same events are explained from two different personal perspectives, we get a different insight into why things are happening. For example, Daniel Varsky ends up with a desk. In Nadia's chapter, we think that he got it maybe from a previous lover, although we don't really know how he came to get it. Whereas Arthur Berg, he thinks his wife is maybe with Daniel Varsky, and that's how he comes to obtain the desk. What's so important is that from each perspective, it's the narrator telling their memories of how things happen, and that's what makes each chapter so different and interesting. Back to you.
In terms of diction, there's a variety of unique diction that's used in this book. It's mostly filled with connotative diction rather than denotative ones. As the story focuses on literature, art, and past historical events, there's many references that alludes to these historical events that happened in the past. With figurative language as well in the book, there's a lot of personification of the desk that comes up multiple times throughout the book. For people who are just picking up this book, I highly suggest focus on this personification of the desk. Looks like that's all the time we have for today in the Analyst Desk. Now we'll be going over to Anna and Monique with motivations to read.
And now on to our motivation to read segment. So I'm going to be talking about the meaning and influence of relationships throughout Great House, and Anna is going to be talking about the relationships between human and objects throughout the novel. So in terms of relationships, Nicole Cross definitely teaches the reader about the most important aspects of human relationships. And one of the main things that she touches on is the importance of communication and openness. And she does this in a very suspenseful and kind of shocking way. And without giving away too much, a lot of the central issues that the characters deal with have to do with their partner or someone they love, keeping things from them and just being very secretive. So that's a main issue revolving around relationships in the book. And I think a reason that it can kind of relate to all different kinds of readers is because she touches on different types of relationships. So it's not only relationships between two lovers or husband and wife, it's also relationships between parents and children and friends and things like that. And because we get to see every chapter from a different character's perspective, we get to kind of relate to every character and put ourselves in their shoes and feel empathy for them and kind of understand what they're feeling. Now on to Anna's segment.
Thank you, Mommy. So I really do think that this book is just a true piece of literary art. Nicole Krauss takes such an omit and relatable theme, such as the relationships that we have with objects. It's something that is so omit that we don't think of every day, and she just immerses the reader completely through the changes of time and cultural changes as well, as she demonstrates the deep sentimentality that objects have on people, especially as they grow historically and as they change and as they get passed on through different generations. So I do think that because of this universal theme that she chose, she was able to write a very canonic piece of literature that really appeals to such a wide variety of audiences. I'd really say ranging from young adults like 18, 19 and onward. I think the older you grow, the more appreciation you have for objects, and the more objects become important to you. Even when you're an adult, you think back to that teddy bear. People hold on to things because they hold history, whether it's bad memories or good memories. They hold a piece of their lives, and it brings them back to that time of comfort, and it helps them continue on. And I really think she did such a great job with that. Of course, I think, for children and teenagers, I don't think they'd fully grasp or appreciate the concept that Nicole Krauss gets at throughout her book, or if they really understand it. But I do think, the older your age, the higher your appreciation would be for this writing and for just the different stories that she follows. There are so many different generations that, overlap that she follows, and I think, the older you are, just the better you would relate and appreciate this novel. So I'd highly recommend it for just that alone. And I think that's about it for the relation to objects. So
Thanks for your insight, Anna, and that concludes our motivation to read segment. Thank you for watching.
thank you for tuning in to our weekly review. Tune in next week when we interview Daniel Radcliffe, who will survive Voldemort or
The Chosen One.